And up next, we have the president of the Polish-Swiss Chamber of Commerce, who is also the country head of UBS Poland, one of the largest employers right now in the shared service markets. Michał Stępień, the floor is yours. Thank you, Michał.
Thank you, Pablo. Hi, hello, everyone. Great pleasure to have you here at our 8th edition of the Polish-Swiss Innovation Day. Many thanks to the embassy, to His Excellency, Ambassador of Switzerland to Poland, Fabrice. Fabrice is a great supporter of all the initiatives that we do as the Polish-Swiss Chamber of Commerce. And many thanks to all the partners of the Chamber, of the member companies of the Chamber that have these creative ideas, what we can present as the great collaboration between the two countries, between the businesses of the two countries. And when it comes to the sustainable buildings, I always think about the provocative thought for the conference to start with. And when I was thinking about the topic for this year's edition, I think that the buildings are the most sustainable thing on earth, man-made. Look back and think about the pyramids in Giza. Of course, some may argue they are not man-made, yeah, but okay, let's, for the sake of this discussion, say they are man-made. Other landmark buildings like cathedrals from the medieval ages, like some of the skyscrapers, they shape our landscape. And I'm really glad to see that we have architects in the room, that we have builders in the room, that we have developers in the room, and then we have the companies that make the buildings usable. Because one thing is to design and build, but the other thing is how we use the buildings. And that, I believe, these two elements need to come together when we think about the sustainable buildings. Because thinking back about the pyramids, they are still there after, 3,000 years, yes. And, but they are not usable, in fact. Yeah, so they have been designed and built for a purpose that for us is not usable anymore as our civilization has progressed and moved on. And that's the problem of the modern architecture, modern buildings. How we build them, how we shape the landscape, how we like it, and then how we use it. And then, as Mr. Ambassador mentioned, the problem is not only in the construction and the raw materials that we use and how we build the buildings, but also how we use them. And then, in fact, it's us, the humans, the occupiers of the buildings, the users of the buildings, that need to think how we make the building sustainable. And this challenge comes also when you think about how we now work and live. Pandemic has changed our lives. It really turned that maybe not 180 degrees around, but to me 100 degrees around, because our home became a workplace. And our workplace needs to be something else it used to be in the past. So it's also for the architects, the developers, and the users to rethink together what is the future of the buildings and the usability of the buildings. Because no one wants to build the buildings that are used, unless they create a monument, but it's very hard to say from the construction day whether it will be a monument or not. And how we then can make it sustainable, so lasting for long. Because it's not sustainable to build a building and then demolish that and redevelop the plot of land again. That's not the purpose anymore for us. We should have a slightly different purpose. So how we make it that universal that the users can be happy with using the building for long. Because sustainable, to me, means long term. And that's, I think, what this conference should also focus, and the discussions should focus today. So how we, as the users, together with the architects, designers, developers, and builders, make it sustainable. And then also how we combine this usability, as I mentioned, because to me, now one of the biggest challenges that we face, that it's many empty office buildings. And it's not empty because they are not leased. They are leased, yeah, so still the rent is being paid, but for how long, yeah? So this is the problem as well we are facing. So how we redesign or make these buildings usable for longer, because some of the offices, we know that, will not survive. Yeah? And I'm not talking about the production facilities, because they are very often made for a short purpose. We know how the planning process works, and then the construction, and then when we think about these short-term facilities that are also needed, how we could make them portable and reuse them in another place. So I hope this will drive the discussion today. And again, thank you for your participation. Thank you for coming, and thank you for the guests that are willing to share their thoughts with us on how we can make the world sustainable. Because really, when you look around, it's really our world we live in is about the nature, and then it's the buildings, and then the rest. Then the cars, other things, but they are not that sustainable. And on that thought, I leave you with that, and thank you very much, and have a good day.